It's it's early in the morning. It's looks like about 3:45, and I was having a talk with God this morning. That's what I call prayer. That's what prayer is for me. Is just having a conversation with God, and I talk a lot. Hard for me to keep my mouth shut. That's who I am. And we call it ADHD and things like that. And my mouth runneth over, but I love listening. I love to stop and listen and watch and see what God has to say. It's quite a bit more important. And God has a lot to say to all of us, and to show us. I'm very thankful that I have eyesight. It's going a little bit, and I'm glad I can hear. I'm trying to talk quietly because my wife Barbara, my lovely wife, is still up in bed. I laid in bed. I've probably been laying in bed for over an hour, just talking to God, and listening to Him, and He's showing me things. And if I go to sleep, I might forget some of that stuff. And I didn't used to forget anything, but I want to try to get some things down, for myself, and for others, and for my family and stuff. Get in this another time, but we're coming up on 5 years since COVID got here. By this time, it was already in China. This is November, last day of November, I believe. Or maybe yesterday was. I'm not sure. This could be the first day of December. It's Saturday. Cougars are playing today. Yeah, I still love the Cougars. Playing Wyoming at home today. They should win this one. And it's 2024. Yeah, in the year of our Lord. Calendars are pretty... Yeah, you start thinking about a calendar. There's so many things all around us all the time that God is showing us and talking to us about. And we just got to listen. He showed me this morning the 3 W's, and you need to watch. And hopefully if you have eyesight to do it, and ears to hear, listen, watch, smell, taste, everything you can. And then wander. Let your mind wander. My mind wanders a lot. And the older I get, and the more I have COVID, or the my mind's deteriorating from COVID. I forget things. I lose my train of thought a lot more, But I still, if you watch and you let God talk to you, listen, be quiet, and let God show you things. See things. See the grass. See the bumblebees in the grass and the dandelions, and get a closer look at that stuff and learn about bees and dandelions and trees and our atmosphere and things, and let your mind wander, and then you will get to the point every single time where you wonder. The 3 W's. Yeah. Watch, wander, and wonder. And when you get to the point where the light goes on in your mind and your spirit, in your head, and you go, and you wonder. It looks like I'm not having a stroke, but I have lost a lot of muscle control and things, but I love to watch and touch things and listen to things and think about things, and God gave me a great mind. He gave us all of us great minds. That my ADHD mind, or Mensa mind, whatever I got, my whole life I didn't know I had this kind of mind that was different than other people. I still don't think it's that much different. I think we're all the same, really. But I do allow my mind to go where it wants to go, and I trust it. And I listen to what my mind has to tell me and what God has to tell me through my mind. And I let it go. I let it wander. I give it rope. I let it go. And I always wonder, I always get to a point where it's like, wow, I hadn't thought of that. That's amazing. That's God. Yeah. All the time, every day, And I was thinking this morning about the atmosphere. I think about our atmosphere a lot, And, the Bible has so many good things in it. And there's so many weird stories and stuff in there. I don't have to have the Bible to believe in God. I've got nature. I've got God's creation to prove and believe and wonder at that there is a creator that created everything, And he's beyond our finding out. That's the kind of creator I want. I don't want to be able to put him in a box and stuff. We're on this tiny little blue ball in the middle of endless expanse. And as far as we can tell so far, this little blue ball is the only place where stuff's going on. Now, logically, I do think logically, there must be other little blue balls out there. It would make sense. Why wouldn't there be? But so far, we haven't found any. And the closest star, I think, is Alpha Centauri. I think that's the name of it. And you've seen artist conceptions of planets that are around some of these stars, and you actually see what they're really seeing is about the same thing you see with your eyes. When you get that far away, millions or billions of light years away, that's what we're talking about, is light. You're seeing a light that started millions or billions or trillions of years away. That's a light year. And when God created the earth, the lights were there. He created the stars. They were there like that. That means that light had already been traveling that far. And that's a long ways away, even at the speed of light. And when you're looking at that light, you're looking at a piece of it, the photons and protons, what is this? That's coming from millions and trillions of light years away. And, the best telescopes we have, you look at that, it's a little fuzzball. But in reality, it's our sun. Our sun's one of the smaller stars out there. There's stars that are 10, 20, 100 times bigger than our star. And they're still just little fuzzy balls out there. And they're not seeing planets. They're seeing disturbances in the light, a little bit, a wobble or something, and they assume that is made by a planet. And that's great. It probably is. But these little artist conceptions of K2 or something, these inhabitable planets that have oxygen and trees and everything else, that's all make-believe, okay? I think it should. There's no reason not to think that. It should be there. But so far, our little blue ball is the only place what's happening. This is where it's all at, right here. There's still really space out there. There's still millions and billions of stars and everything. But our little blue ball, our atmosphere, right here, is where it's at. And I believe the Creator inhabits everything, but this is where his attention is at. And I'm dying, and I could die tomorrow. I might live another year or two, unless God heals me. It's up to him. But when I die, when you die, whenever we transition into the realm, heaven, eternity, where there is no time, that's what eternity means, where God resides. And it's going to blow our minds away. And then we're going to see that all of creation is nothing compared to the Creator. And we like to try to put the Creator in a box and figure him out. And there's no figuring out God. He told us when someone asked, "What's your name?" I am. That's all he said. Like, wow. Let your mind wander on that one for a while until you wonder. And just God just is everywhere. Always was, always is, always will be. And that's eternity. That's outside of time. And I believe eternity is right here, all around us. We can't see it. It's, we say it's another dimension, you know, dual dimension. The Bible talks about 10, 11 dimensions, and that's all, after all this time, the best, smartest minds are saying that we live in a 10 and probably 11 dimensional world, you know, and I don't know exactly what that means, you know, but I know that God inhabits all of them, you know, and heaven is, and I think is, we can't see heaven, we can't see eternity, but it's all around us all the time. We interact with it all the time in our little planet here. I don't know outside of our planet, but this is where the action is, and I believe God created Earth as a little mini incubator, you know, in this vast amount of space, this little blue ball, and that's where life begins. This is where the action is, you know, and He made us in His image, and He told us to be fruitful and multiply and take care of the earth and the animals. And that's what we're supposed to do. Just, that's our whole reason for being here, is just to be here. Be I am. Be here and look around you and experience all of the miracles around you, and nature and people and feelings and emotions and God and wonder. And we're here for a short time. And then we transition over to a world that makes this seem like a created thing compared to what's real and eternal with no time. And here on Earth, we are time travelers. We live in time all through the universe. We are all living in time. But there's this other realm where there is no time, and that's hard to. It takes some wondering and watching to figure that out. But I think I have a pretty good grasp on the idea of it anyway. I don't think I can comprehend what that's going to be like till I get there, but I understand it's going to be way different than living in time. Living in time is all we know, you know, and time is a created thing, but really it's more like movement, you know. We can feel the movement when you're riding in a car, when you're outside with the top down, you feel the wind, the atmosphere going by you, you feel all that. You know you're moving, you feel the earth move under your feet. Yeah, and even when you sleep, I believe I do. Most people I've talked to know that time goes by when you sleep. You know that, I passed out for a second there. Whew, how much time went by? You're trying to figure out how much time. What time is it? You know, right away. And I always seem to have a good sense of time, even when I'm sleeping. I know a long time has passed or a short time has passed. I think most people have a general idea that time has passed, except when you get unconscious. Who I am and talking and thinking and wondering is my consciousness. Consciousness? That's just a word. But we are eternal beings, and we have a conscious. We think, we reason, we feel. That's us. That's it. And our conscious is who we are, and we say it resides in our soul or mind, wherever. I don't know. I'm donated my body to WSU for a student, a future doctor. He keeps my body for 2 years. It's his body, and he can look around. Maybe he'll find my soul in there, you know. But I'm pretty sure when I die, my soul will leave. It doesn't have a physical form. And when he's done chopping my body up and everything, whatever's left of me, they will incinerate and they'll bury my ashes out in a field down by WSU. And but that doesn't matter. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That's not our bodies, our minds. It's not who we are. We are created as eternal beings. Our consciousness is meant to live on, and God gave me a good mind, a good body, but COVID is messing it up. You know, I got COVID in probably the first or second week of January 2020 while I was working at WSU, and I was a plumber, and so plumbers are around a lot of disease and things, catch a lot of stuff. You know, my hands are working on toilets and urinals and sinks and all the time, sewer pipes, you know, and we catch a lot of stuff. And so I'd been sick before in December. I usually get sick every year with something, bronchitis, walking pneumonia or something. So my immune system was down, and I'd already used up my sick leave and stuff. And I was working on a WSU health campus here in Spokane, and we have lots of international students. Most of them are from China. We have students from China, teachers and professors from China. We have administration people from China. We have lots of lab techs from China. And I was working on a project all through January in the PBS building, pharmaceutical building, and they have 4 floors of labs going up, plus a whole basement full of labs, and the anatomy department having trouble talking and thinking and stuff. But that's where I'll be after I die. That's where my body's going to be after I die, in the basement of that building, in the anatomy department. And I worked in there a lot. It was interesting, and there's plumbing there too. You know, I was exposed to all that stuff. But what I believe is that I was either exposed to a person or worked on a sink or something where a person who was carrying the COVID virus either had, this was right after Christmas break, and students, and in China, I don't really celebrate Christmas, but the Chinese New Year, students had gone home, teachers had gone home back to China, or they had relatives come here. There could have been like, you went to visit a friend who doesn't even work at WSU, but their aunt got home, came over to visit from China, and that thing spread so quickly and so easily. But I was at the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time, where and my immune system was shot, and I got exposed to it. And I got the very first dose of the original COVID-1 bug. And for me, it attacked my autonomic nervous system, and it took 2 years. Well, first of all, nobody believed I was sick. I lost my job. They said I was acting crazy and weird. I said, no, I am sick. I said, I'm hearing things and seeing stars, and I am really sick. I've never been sick like this before. And a couple of supervisors who didn't appreciate how I see things differently, and my ADHD brain, my Mensa brain that figures everything out. They didn't appreciate that. I made them look bad. I didn't mean to. Tried to make up for it, but they just had to get rid of me. They didn't want me around, and they used the excuse of me being sick with COVID and to make up a story that I was a safety risk, and they said I attacked them and all kinds of lies, and it got me fired. And so I was still very sick with COVID. I had lost my state job and couldn't get anybody to believe me. You know, it wasn't until I think about March maybe that that was like people realized that, oh, this is a real thing. It's in America. It's in Spokane. You know, but I was exposed to it right at the beginning, and by the time the tests were available, I think I had my first test in April, maybe May or something. And I tested negative at that point. And I had probably 20 more tests after that because I was so sick. And my doctor said, yeah, you had COVID, but you don't now. And nobody talked about long COVID or if you live through it, then you're fine. That's all, Well, that first year, 50 million people who had COVID died just in the United States. And I felt like I was going to die. And even though my tests were negative, the damage was done. And I eventually talked to me. I had to beg and talk them into giving me the antibody test. And my doctors would say, "Oh, you're not going to have it. You don't have it now. And so we don't want to pay for that." But I just kept getting worse and worse and passing out. having all kinds of terrible problems. So they finally let me get the antibody test, and it came back positive for the original SARS-CoV-2 virus all through my blood, the antibodies, which means that my body had made the antibodies and kicked it out. But why was I still sick, So, like I said, it took from 2020 into 22 years, 2022, and then they finally started sending me to specialists, and I must have seen 10 different specialists, cardiologists, pulmonary people, all kinds of tests done on me, and I had the symptoms I had were very similar to those people who died or had long COVID, and they did have lung damage and heart damage. But I enjoyed meeting some of these doctors, not all of them, but smart people, wouldn't listen to me. But one cardiologist, he came in with my results from quite a few tests, and he said, he just kind of laughed a bit. I get to bring you good news. It's good news and bad news. For me, he said, it's good news, because I never, if you made it to me, that means there's something wrong with your heart. And my job is just to go in and figure out what it is. And then I have to come tell you what's wrong with your heart. Well, in your case, you've got all the symptoms of somebody who's got a bad heart, but your heart's great. You got a great heart. And he goes, it's good news. I don't get to spread good news very often, he says, but it doesn't help you. Your lungs are great. Your heart's great. As far as we can tell, every organ in your body is in great shape. We don't know what's wrong with you. And there was more tests after that, and it was end of 2022, yeah. And the last cardiologist I saw, he was the first one to, I think, really listen to me, and he had a good mind. He was watching me and listening to me, and his mind was wandering, and he figured it out. He goes, I think this is nervous system. This isn't your body or organs or anything. I think it's your autonomic nervous system, which I'd never heard of, And so then from January of 2023 until about the beginning of 2024 here, well, it was all testing that stuff. And I've been to all kinds of specialists. I've been to Stanford, and I've talked to the University of Washington, Mayo Clinic, and Cleveland Clinic, and Mount Sinai, and I've gotten an education on this stuff. And it is a fact that it's like Parkinson's and a lot of diseases like that involve your autonomic nervous system, and it's still a mystery on a lot of it and where it comes from, and there wasn't a test up until just the last year, and it can test for Parkinson's and different things, and it can test for if you got I need to memorize this word. It's a long word. It's like Synucleins or something like that. And I researched that and found out that there was a study out of Florida University of Florida, involving 100 different specialists and doctors and scientists, and about 3,000 long COVID people. And so they came up with this new test where they do 3 biopsies, one kind of up on your neck, and then one about halfway down your back, and one down in your leg. And each of these biopsies are testing for different things, and you send your biopsies off to a lab in Scottsdale, Arizona. I did this all myself, and even took I went to a dermatologist. Yeah, it's hard for me to not remember things, and then they gave me the envelope that I ordered the test kit for them, and this lab in Scottsdale sent it up to them. And then I had 3 vials in it with special solutions that preserve each one of these biopsies. And then I took the envelope with my wife. Well, she drove. I can't drive anymore either. Can't work, can't drive. Can still talk though. Huh? Took the overnight FedEx envelope to the main FedEx terminal here in Spokane and sent it off to Scottsdale. And I called Scottsdale, the lab down there, Syn1 Labs in Scottsdale, the next morning. just want to make sure they got it. And yeah, we got it. And they said, well, it takes 3 weeks, it takes 21 days to get the results back, and that's just about exactly. And I'd asked them to send me a copy of the lab results, and then one went to my GP. But nobody in Spokane knows about this stuff, and there was nobody to interpret them, and even the Stanford guy, he wasn't about to. He says I'm making this stuff up or something. Let's say I don't have this, but I obviously do, and my type of nervous system damage is called multiple system atrophy, because all of the things that your autonomic nervous system controls are all these different systems are failing. And so having trouble talking, controlling my muscles, seeing, hearing, breathing. I don't get enough oxygen to my brain. My brain would be healthy other than my body's not sending enough blood flow up there. My heart rate doesn't go up. My blood pressure doesn't rise. And as long as I'm laying down, I'm okay. But when I stand up, blood goes down to my legs, and my autonomic nervous system is sending out signals and telling my body and my heart to pick up, my blood pressure to pick up, and it's telling the muscles and my legs to contract and force that blood up to my head. And those muscles and everything are capable of doing that. But the signal either isn't getting to them or getting scrambled or something. And that's what this test for is. I guess these, I should look it up. I'll find out for you. These Synucleins or whatever they are is something kind of like an amino acid chain, and it's something your body creates and does, and there's a useful thing for it. But the virus, the COVID virus, causes these things to build up and kind of like cancer, and spread and grow and build. And they're pretty sure in my case, and probably most of the people with long COVID who didn't die right away, these things attach and grow in and around and wrap up your brainstem, which is kind of right behind in the middle of your head, very bottom of your brain. Most of it's up inside your cranium, but a little bit sticks out and comes down and connects to your spinal cord and your whole nervous system down there. And so everything has to go through that that little brainstem. They're not very big, but that's what they've done is people who have long COVID, and it gave them their permission to have an autopsy. They cut their brains open and look inside there and look at that brainstem, and sure enough, it's like strangled, and it just is choked off by this thing. And so the signals aren't going out and coming in like they should. Now, I can still think and talk, but I'm losing my vision and so many things. And I know some of it is it's all caused by COVID, caused by the constrictions in my brainstem, but also the not being able to think and seeing stars. That's because of the lack of blood, oxygen-rich blood that my brain is not getting and has to have. And between that and my heart not working right, and my lungs not working right, and my digestive system not working right, and a list of other 20 things that aren't working right, it's a fatal disease. And it used to be super, super rare, and it was usually you already had Parkinson's, and then it affected your other system, or you had MD or MS, some other type of a little bit more common nervous system disease that eventually turns into the multi-system atrophy. But all the research and everything I did on it from years ago, before COVID, said that the only other way you could get this was sometimes, even more rarely, is through a virus, like the COVID virus. Some of them even mention that type of COVID. The virus is like a truck, and it brings things into your body and unloads them. And some people, it got their lungs and heart before they had a chance to even notice there was anything wrong with their brain. But most of these doctors believe that if you got my symptoms or some of my symptoms, most of my symptoms, long COVID people who've got my symptoms, if they cut your brain open, they would find that your brainstem is choked off by these things because of COVID. And then I guess your white blood cells, your body's telling you there's a problem here, so they send more of those things trying to fix the problem. What makes it worse, and your immune system sends white blood cells there, which build up scar tissue, and it just gets worse, snowballs, And that's what's going on with me. And God has healed me of so many things all through my life, and I prayed for healing for this, and lots of people have prayed. I know He could heal me, But, everybody dies. Everybody that Jesus healed is dead. Jesus died and rose again, but I'm going to rise again too. As soon as I die, I'm going to be with Jesus. That's what I believe. And we all die, and I'm not afraid to die. I've enjoyed my life here. I want to stay as long as possible. I want to stay with my wife Barb. I want to stay with my daughters Brenda and Bonnie. I want to stay with my 4 grandkids that I love so much and love spending time with. Jack and Adele and Isaac and Elsie. I don't want to leave them, but it's not my choice. I didn't do anything wrong. I have hurt myself many times because I'm careless and I'm in a hurry and do dumb things and hurt myself. And God has always healed me from these serious injuries throughout my life. But I'm not speaking for God, but it seems to me as I look at what's going on and watch and wonder, I think He's going to let me die from this, just like millions and millions and millions of people all over the earth have died for it and are still going to die for this. I'm trying to be a mouthpiece for myself and for these people, and let everyone I can know that this is what's going on, and I believe it's probably what's going on with most of the millions and millions of people who say they've got long COVID is what they have. They have nervous system damage, and probably the same type I do because of the autopsies they've done, and that's what they found in all of their brains. But I kind of didn't want to do the autopsy route just yet, because it requires you to die. And so I was really glad when this new test came out that they could find this out without doing an autopsy. They just take a little biopsy off the back of my neck, a couple stitches, sent that off, and ta-da! I have a buildup of those Synucleins, wherever they are, and I don't know. My wife still works for WSU. She's worked there over 20 years, getting close to 25, and I loved working there with her. And I'm still on her Kaiser Permanente insurance. And at first, they didn't believe any of this, and it was frustrating. But that wasn't just Kaiser; that was everybody, all the doctors and all the insurance companies. Wouldn't believe me, but I proved them all wrong because I'm a smart guy. And anyway, they've been good about paying for me to go to Stanford twice and see specialists, and go to Seattle and see specialists, and they paid for the dermatologist who did the biopsies, and they paid for the test and everything. And so I don't know what the test cost, but I think everyone with long COVID should have that test done. And as I'm talking to you right now, I'm seeing auras. This whole side of my vision is all like rainbow auras and stuff. And yes, I did take drugs in high school, but it's not like that. It's not fun. It doesn't hurt me. But I have passed out and fallen and seriously hurt myself several times, and that was no fun at all. Laid up, and both my arms were in slings. I tore my right rotator cuff completely. There's 2 tendons in there. I tore it complete. They call it a double, complete, irreversible, irreparable, complete rotator cuff separation or tears, and they had to sew in 2 cadaver pieces and lots of screws and temporary fix on that one. And right after that, I did a dumb thing, and I was using my doctor said, "Don't use your right hand." "Oh, I won't." So I was using my left hand, and I was about ready to pass out. I was super dizzy and tired, and I was using my left hand on a roto hammer drill, and I had it in turn rather than chisel, and it caught a rock and twisted my arm around, and I got a spiral fracture all the way up my arm through the scar, and they had to put a plate in there and screw that all together. And I've got a lot of bad injuries from this, and like I say, I had to quit driving. And they say that from the time you start showing these symptoms, which I did right away, right after I got COVID in January of 2020, the average lifespan is, is around 6 years. One guy will say, 5 to 7. I've heard some people say that some people can live as long as 10 years with it, but that's abnormal. No cure, no treatment. And so I'm using this as a platform to get people to start thinking about, I know I'm dying, but I know you're dying too. We are all dying. And I'll be 65 in June, and that seems young to me, but none of us know how long we have. And the only guarantee I can give you is you are going to die. No matter what the doctors do, no matter how many times Jesus heals you, you're still going to die. And this incubator down here, our little blue marble, where God creates life, and every single person has a soul and a consciousness, and it's a great gift to be here. The chances of you being here are phenomenal. And the chances of, your mom and dad just happen to have sex at the right time to have you. And if you hadn't, if your dad's one sperm didn't get together with your mom's egg at that exact second, you wouldn't be here. Your DNA is different than everybody else's DNA. Even identical twins have differences. There are no 2 people exactly alike. No 2 consciousness. No eternal beings. And that's why abortion is so bad. You're choosing to end an eternal life. From the moment those 2, the egg and that sperm, get together, they start multiplying and making DNA. And that DNA is your DNA forever until you die. Everything about your body, all the measurements, all the designs and instructions and everything are in that DNA. And there are no 2 DNAs alike anywhere in the entire world ever. And so, and war is bad too. I understand why we have to have military and police and to protect us from bad people, mean people. Mean people suck. If there were no mean people in the world, we wouldn't have to have soldiers or police or anything else. If we would just listen to Jesus, treat everyone the way you want to be treated, not like a mean person. Treat each other kind and compassionately, and don't kill them. People who are forced to go out to war to protect us and other people, and they kill someone. And I feel so bad for them, but they understand they have cut short life, or maybe they get killed and their life is cut short. And we're only here for a short time, no matter what. Even if you live to be 100, that's a short time. And the only place time exists is in this creation, in our universe. And the only ones I can tell who are experiencing it are the ones that are on planet Earth, our little planet Earth, protected by this little thin coating of atmosphere. And, they say if the Earth was the size of a cue ball, you could hold it in your hand, it would be just as smooth and it would feel just like a cue ball. But from our perspective, we have all these high mountains around us, and the sky and the clouds go on forever, but that's not the way it is. Our planet's a very small planet, but if you get far enough away, it looks round, and like I say, if it could get the size of a cue ball, you'd feel just how smooth it is. It's just a round ball. And if you get your Google Maps out and center it on the Pacific Ocean, there's a spot out there towards Fiji where all you see is water. The Earth is just on that one side is all like 98% nothing but ocean. And then on the other half of the Earth, much of that is ocean. And there's a little bit of land out there, and that's where we live and experience, and it's just not that big, and those mountains aren't that high, and the atmosphere and the clouds are not that far away, and it's if you held an apple in your hand, an average sized red delicious apple, and it was bigger than a cue ball, but I'm not talking about those giant apples I used to get when I travel through Wenatchee or something. They'd be like 6 inches across, but an average, let's say it's a 3-inch apple, not per average, 2.5-inch apple, just your normal size apple, size bigger than a cue ball. The atmosphere is not as thick as the skin on that apple. And just the red skin on a red delicious apple. If that was the same size as the Earth, that's how thick the atmosphere is. It's just paper thin, and without the atmosphere, we'd all be dead. Our atmosphere is such an amazing thing, and it's held together by forces we don't totally understand. And we're at the equator. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. We don't feel it. We're held down by gravity and other forces. We don't feel the wind going by us. We don't feel the Earth moving at 1,000 miles per hour. But we're not flung off. We're held together. And every atom and every molecule is held together by the Creator. And doesn't explode. It's pretty hard to get an atom to explode. But when it does, it releases tremendous energy. Every atom is just packed with miraculous energy. And then our planet, as it's spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, is traveling around the sun. And I used to think it was 1,000 miles per hour. I think I might be off on that figure a little bit, but it's traveling around the sun very fast. And we don't feel that either. And our whole solar system is traveling around the sun very fast. And the further out you get, the faster they're traveling. And our whole solar system is traveling through the Milky Way at 100,000 miles per hour. And the Milky Way galaxy is flying through the entire universe at amazing speeds. And that's what time is. What we call time is how long it takes for the Earth to spin around. We divided it up into 24 segments, and we have light and darkness, and that's what we call time. But really, it's just motion. It's speed. It's a clock is more like a tachometer, maybe. How fast is the engine spinning? How fast is the Earth turning? How fast is Earth going around the sun? Takes 365 of those 24-hour segments to go around the sun, and we've divided it all up, and it's like clockwork. It's a big clock, is what it is. It's a big mechanism, and it's accurate, the most accurate cesium clocks and atomic clocks that we can build. We use to measure how fast the universe is going, because it's so accurate. Okay, how is that possible? That defies everything in physics. How can it just keep going? How can the Earth keep spinning How can it keep going around the sun at the same speed and never slow down? How? Yeah, the Creator made it that way, and the Creator keeps it going, and it's all temporary. It's all temporary compared to what eternity is. And we're blessed to be here. We're part of the miracle. We were born here on this planet, protected by this atmosphere, and that gives us a chance to be eternal. And I don't want to think about if you don't believe that, or if you curse God and die or something. I don't know what happens to you, but I know the Bible says that if you believe God and you acknowledge Him and you thank Him and ask to forgive your sins, and try to please Him, treat other people well, that when I die, as soon as I die, absent from the body, present with the Lord. I was a thief at one time, and I served when I was in high school, got arrested, spent a year locked up, and I felt bad about that. When I became a Christian, I spent about 25 years working with juvenile offenders down at Spokane Juvenile Detention, and talking to them about this kind of stuff. And one of the best things I've done, other than having kids and grandkids, helping those kids. That was a great thing. I enjoyed that a lot. I can't do that anymore because WSU's lied about me and said I was a crazy person and a safety risk, and I attacked 2 supervisors, and I was hauled off campus by security. Now that's all a lie, but that's what my record is, and I couldn't get another plumbing job, couldn't get another state job, because that's what my record is. And I had free time and wanted to go down and volunteer some more, be a chaplain again. And the person, a good friend of mine, Danny Beer, that ran that program when I was there and still involved with it, said, "No, you can't. Not if you've got that kind of record. You can't." And then as my COVID has moved along and my nervous system damaged, I couldn't anyway. I tried working, I couldn't do that. I lost everything. I had to cash in my retirement and refinance my house and sell everything I owned just to pay the bills, and bankrupt, and all because of COVID. And I was able to get disability. I worked on that for 4 years and just kept presenting them with all the evidence I was finding. Finally got a hearing and had a good judge, and she said, as far as she knew, I was the first person to be awarded disability because of COVID, and I'd like to change that. It's a double-edged sword. They talk about how the whole Social Security system could go bankrupt, and I'm in it, so I want to get my money. But I care about other people, and I know what I'm going through, and even though there's no cure, I think everybody who's got long COVID should take that test and find out if you have what I have. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about, and that's me. That's how I talk to God. It was just a conversation, mostly listening, about 98% listening. That's the best thing. So appreciate your time. I've talked for almost 49 minutes. I got to get some water in my throat. So God loves you. I love you. Get right with God. Don't be a mean person. Treat everyone the way you want to be treated. We'll see you on the other side.